Today we're at Tîn Rhelig, Llanrystud, Aberystwyth for a Farming Connect knowledge transfer event looking at recent advances in potato blight control.
The main focus of today is looking at a European Innovation Partnership project, looking at the potential for ivy extract to control blight.
The work that's being done in this project started in Bangor University. Some years ago now we isolated extracts from ivy, very simple extracts, and we used them in a blight trial. This picture is not terribly clear, but this is an infected blight crop, completely decimated. This is a simple extract of ivy, and you see that that crop is essentially undamaged. And in that trial, the ivy extract performed as well as the normal sequence of petrochemical extracts at a dose application very similar to those extracts.
So what we're involved in doing is to take the heterin, this powder here, and to see if it will control late blight in plots in 2 farms. Just a note saying that in a wet year the cost of blight control in Great Britain is 72 million. Well, that's a number that concentrates the mind in saying, well, do we really need to spend that amount to scatter huge amounts of chemicals around the environment to poison bees and the like? And isn't there a better way of doing it? So we're hoping that the better way is using ivy. So I'm starting with the field trials that we ran last year, 2017, and we had the conventional trial at Henvice, where we can use nasty things like herbicides. We have artificial fertilizers, and we have David's one here, where he's organic, and of course he can't use the conventional fungicide, and he's using copper instead. This is just an example of the results at Henvice last year. Blight, as you might remember, if you were growing potatoes or tomatoes last year, it just rained and rained and rained. And blight loves rain and moist conditions, and free water on the leaves. And the progression of the blight is recorded so that over periods of weekly intervals, the amount of blight in the crop is recorded, and the scale up here is the percentage of blight on the foliage. What we take from this initial trial at Henvice is that the heterin is certainly able to control blight to an effect, and it is rather similar in its effect to the fungicide. Now, why did the fungicide go up? Why didn't we have a flat line along the bottom? And that could have been due to at least 2 things. And one is that when you're using a hand application, we were using a sprayer, you know, one of these knapsack sprayers where you pump and you spray. It's very inefficient, and it's very difficult to get penetration all over the crop and down into the foliage of the crop, and to get 100% coverage. And that's what you're after when you're using a fungicide. You want it all to be covered, the whole plant covered in fungicide. So that was certainly one of the problems. And the other one is that the blight arrived so early last year that there was blight in the crop probably before we started to spray. So one of the points that we learned was you must make sure that the fungicides go on before the blight arrives. This year it hasn't been a problem.
So these are the 3 treatments that I already mentioned that we're applying to the organic trial. we have plots which you'll be able to see when we go up to the field in a minute. So there are four different treatments, and there are 5 replicates of each. So we've got 20 plots altogether. So we were planting, can't quite see the date, but it's actually 1st of June. We planted machine planting. They went in pretty good conditions, but after this is when we had the really dry weather. As you can see, really dry. This was about a month later. The potatoes had hardly grown. There are big gaps where they haven't come up, and they really weren't at all flourishing. So we started irrigating them, but the crop established much better after that. Foliage has grown, and this is it quite recently when we've started to lay the plots out, as you can see.
Potato blight normally arrives at Tîn Rhelig without fail in the 2nd week of July, but this year it was delayed into August because of the dry weather. Headerin has been applied at 2 rates, 0.1% and 0.3%, and foliar damage observations on the plots will continue into September. Harvesting of the plots will then be done by hand to allow tuber yield and quality assessments to be made across the plots.